Hey guys, welcome to Denny's. Today we're going to jump into episode 18 of the Weekly Loot Cave. This is the series where I give you the most efficient farms for the most notable loots and reactors each week. We are hopping into episode 18, which means we're 18 weeks in. I do want to kind of go into a new format here. Before we get into it, like the video if it helped, guys. Comment any feedback you've got for me, especially on the new format where I'm kind of doing this live and going over everything quickly. Hopefully it ends up being a little bit shorter. Don't forget to follow me on Twitch and then socials, everything. Discord community, if you want to play TFD with people or friends, you can join my Discord in the description below. But let's jump into the Weekly Loot Cave. So this is going to be a live format instead. We're going to head to our world map. We're going to go to difficulty level rewards. We're going to start from the top, and I'm going to kind of point out any notable ones and maybe any roles that I would go for. I never usually recommend Kingston anymore just because I think it can be efficient, but it's not the most efficient. Obviously, non-attribute, impact, and dimension, you can go farm that if you want Glay or Falby mobbing, really solid there, especially with the impact rounds. You can get a perfect reactor. Obviously, I know a lot of people say that they're worried about the role, the ammo type. I understand, guys, everybody who's been commenting, hey, the ammo type still matters. I totally understand your point of view. I don't think it does because three weapons. Listen, if you want to be absolutely perfect, yeah, three weapons for sure. But no Descendant right now really utilizes three weapons, in my opinion. They barely would utilize two. And they do utilize two, don't get me wrong. I just think that having two is totally beyond fine. That's why this does not matter, and I keep repeating that. I hope you guys can understand my point of view. Obviously, having three on somebody would make them out, yes, absolutely finish. Like, for instance, Enzo, where, you want to hold your weapon maybe and get the extra boost. But I would argue the opposite for Enzo because you don't really get a benefit to holding a weapon with him with his damage. There's a lot of different instances, but I'm going off on a tangent. And I don't really want to spend too long on it. But yeah, this doesn't matter in my opinion. Two weapons is just fine. I know that, people starting out definitely go for, the mounted type, because if you're just starting out, you're not going to have a lot of materials. You're going to want to definitely target the round type for sure. But it does not matter if you're far into the game and you plan on getting far into the game. This does not matter, in my opinion, for most complete builds, because two weapons added to the implant system is totally enough to make a build work. One is honestly what I'm going to be going for. I don't even care about the second one. But we'll see how that obviously works in the future. But before I go off too long on a tangent, let's actually go into the notable farms. So starting off with Sterile Lands. Looks like we don't have much here with Rockfall this week. We've got Chill Impact Dimension. So Chill Dimension, obviously Haley's first ability. If you want to do something with Haley's first ability, that's the way to go there. But yeah, not that good. Our really good farm is going to be Repository typically because it's a Valby Outpost farm. So obviously here in Repository, we've got the Valby Outpost farm here. That is going to be a very, very good farm. This week, it looks like it is dropping, excuse me if I go back, it is dropping Electric General and Dimension. So not really that good at all. So not going to worry about that one. These are both very inefficient farming zones. So we're going to jump over to the next bunch that I like to look at. So first off, we've got Abandoned Zone, Toxic Tech. This is a Freyna week 100%. This is going to be the week for Freyna if there ever was one. Obviously, we've had some really good ones in the past, but if you need one for Freyna and you want high efficiency, this is probably the farm of the week. Abandoned Zone, head over here. You're going to go to this fast travel point. You're going to go to the Environment Contamination Zone. This is going to be the mission to run. We all know it. You just keep going, keep going, keep going. And that is going to be the one for Freyna this week. As far as roles on Freyna, it depends. Obviously, for bossing, it's going to be, Colossus damage and crit damage, or Colossus damage and tech damage, excuse me. And then for mobbing, I go for cooldown and duration on Freyna for mobbing, but you can do whatever you want. Those are just my recommendations for the roles for that. And then let's jump over to the next little bit of efficient spots. So I like to look at Mirage Stone and Vermilion Waste. Electric Special Fusion. So this is a Sharon week here in Mirage Stone. Obviously the Valby Outpost farm located right here, the northern side. Use this fast travel to get over there. And then, yeah, it is obviously going to be Electric Special Fusion. So with Sharon, you're going to go for something like crit hit damage and crit hit rate. Unless you're looking for something like an overcharged edge build with Sharon. Obviously Sharon's not getting a lot of gameplay, but if you want a Sharon reactor for the future-proof yourself, definitely cooldown and duration would do just nice. Crit hit damage and crit hit rate would do just nice as well. It would be like a future proofing for any of her builds if they get buffed, which I imagine they're going to be, because she is just extremely weak when it comes to skill ability builds. She's just not strong at all, in my opinion. She can't boss with skill abilities, and she can barely mob with them. But yeah, that's going to be Sharon's. And then as far as Vermilion Waste, we've got Chill, High Power, and Fusion. Not really a fan. I don't play a lot of Viessa, but if you wanted to get one for Viessa this week, you can here. Obviously, Fusion is going to be what you use. This again, this is a Valby Outpost farm. Fusion is going to be if you use no cold, no, the Transcendent mod that adjusts your abilities to singular. Obviously, you can't use that. I think it's absolute 0. So you're just going to be using base Viessa with the Fusion, the first 3 abilities. I don't think it's really that good of a build to go. I think just going more for tech on Viessa is going to be better, but I mean, you have a really good option here in that build if you want to with Vermilion Waste, given that it is a Valby Outpost farm. Let's head over to White Knight Gulch. We're going to look at the most efficient farms for this week. So we've got Electric, Special, and Dimension again. One of the most efficient farms is Moongrave Basin. We all know about the mission here. Obviously, Electric Dimension, we're not even going to spend the time to look at this week because it's just not something that you would do. Electric Dimension is just not playable. I mean, you can use it on Bunny's first ability, but there's just no point. We're going to take a look at Shipment Base, Chill, Special, and Fusion. Another Viessa one. We've got 2 really good Viessa ones. You have to take your pick, obviously. So either Shipment Base or Vermilion Waste for Viessa. I'm just going to say I don't think that there is any reason to do Shipment Base when there is a Valby Outpost farm. I think Valby Outpost farm completely outshine this one, even though this is a very good farm. Do not get me wrong. This is a very, very good farm. I think that the Valby Outpost farm is way better. And then we've got the next one that I like to do. It's going to be in, not Hagios. Hagios is pretty much useless, so we're not really going to look there at all this week. Again, guys, this is for the most efficient farms, so I like to skip over the ones that aren't as efficient. I will have a new section at the end of this video going over the ones that you can get that are not that efficient, that are pretty good. So stay tuned for that if you want to. But we're going to look at the last couple that are pretty efficient. So first things first, Frozen Valley and Fortress. We've got Electric Dimension again, not a good one, not a good week for Frozen Valley. Defense Line, Fire General, and Fusion, not good. Again, unfortunately, nobody uses Fire and Fusion right now other than Esimo, and it's his Creative Explosion ability, which does like no damage because it's just bugged still. However, I do still run Creative Explosion for buffing your blast damage, so just not that good. You could get it theoretically for future-proofing yourself with Esimo, but I wouldn't honestly do that just because that's a lot of unknowns right now. We don't know what's going to happen, so yeah, anyway, Converter Facility. This is probably going to replace... Oh my god, we have such a good week for Freyna. So Freyna not only has Abandoned Zone here, it's Toxic High Power Tech, but she also has Converter Facility. Honestly, guys, I would probably say for Freyna, definitely do Converter Facility. Converter Facility is going to be way better. This is going to be the best overall amount of reactors you can get, and it's general rounds, so you at least have a chance to get your first roll instead of a heavy weapon from Abandoned Zone. You have a good chance to get a roll for a general rounds weapon. Again, cooldown and duration for mobbing for Freyna, and then Colossus damage, tech damage for bossing with Freyna. And then as far as the other ones, I'm going to talk about the less efficient, or excuse me, the less efficient ones now. So for everybody who wants to know some of like the lesser efficient ones, I'll go over those and we can kind of discuss those now. If you're not looking for efficiency and you're that first half of the video is done, that's the weekly loot cave. But these ones I'm going to mention really quickly. So I already mentioned non-attribute impact dimension for Glay. I want to mention Echo Swamp, Misty Woods for Lepic and Esimo this week, Fire General and Tech. This is a very good spot to get your Fire and Tech. You're going to do the Hazy Swamp mission located right here. That's going to be a really, really quick extermination mission, and that's a good way to go for Lepic and Esimo. And then we've got some other ones. There's not really a whole lot. Obviously, Remnant, non-attribute general dimension. So this is going to be for Python Glay if you want to get that guaranteed God roll with Glay. Remnant has like no good missions. I like to do the supply mission. This is what I did with my first ever video. One of my first ever videos on the first Descendant on YouTube. It's pretty solid, but it's not very efficient. So that's why I'm including it in this part of the video. And then others, there's really not a whole lot. Obviously, the Mountaintops has Ajax and Kyle and Luna this week. We had a really good one last week for Luna and Kyle and Ajax, so if you missed it, Sag. This one's pretty solid. It's not the best. You're going to go for the Extermination mission. I believe there's actually a couple you could go for here. Triumphal Arc, or excuse me, I'm sorry, Borderline of Truth is the mission to go for here. Absolutely 100%. Not as efficient as the other ones that we mentioned. Again, this is on the second half of the video where it's not as efficient, but nonetheless, it's got a new fast travel point here from a couple weeks ago, and it's Borderline of Truth. So people are probably pretty familiar with it, but if you wanted to get an Ajax one or a Kyle one, there you go. And then other than that, never recommend anything from Hagios. Obviously, forward base is decent, but it's just that all these are just terribly inefficient. And then, yeah, that's pretty much all the inefficient ones. Obviously, if you want to go for a Viesa Absolute Zero build, you can go for the Field Communication Center here in the Destruction. You'll get really good luck there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope that wasn't too long of a video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know this is a totally different format. Let me know what you guys think. Because we're kind of going through a lull in the game right now, I figured it's a perfect time to try this little format out. So let me know what you guys think, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, great week, great weekend. And yeah, don't forget the Discord in the description below. Follow me on Twitter down there or X, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out, guys. Goodbye.